While the People's Liberation Army, the PLA, is the biggest single provider of troops for the UN peacekeeping efforts known as the Blue Helmets. For more on China's contribution to world peace, CGTN's John Terrett has this report.
We seldom, if ever, see the PLA or its generals at United Nations headquarters, but we do see Ambassador Liu Jie and Beijing's team of diplomats every day in the Security Council dealing with the most serious of world issues. China's been the president of the Council for the month of July, a job that comes round every 15 months, but one that puts it in the driving seat of world affairs. Matthew Lee, an independent journalist who reports on the Security Council for his website Inner City Press.
Like every day, there's somebody in the world that should get an answer from the UN. And
he says China has learned to walk its own path within the UN walls.
They've made themselves kind of bulletproof. When the Russian ambassador goes through, people will, there have been times in the Syria conflict where people will say, come on, you're killing people, what about, and it's like that. You don't really hear that, even on North Korea anymore. It's not just a rising power, it's a risen power. And the UN loves nothing more than to bow down to power.
But China's role at the UN is not limited to the so-called Permanent Five at headquarters here in Manhattan. Its influence stretches way beyond this complex on the east side of the city to where real people on the ground are caught up in conflict. Among the Permanent Five of the Security Council, China's the second biggest funder of Blue Helmet peacekeepers, and the People's Liberation Army is the biggest supplier of personnel. Chinese peacekeepers serve in South Sudan, Mali, Liberia, the DRC and Lebanon. According to the UN, the total number of Chinese peacekeepers is 2,515 as of June this year. Some are policemen and other staff, but the number of actual PLA troops is 2,200 plus. Compare that to 804 French peacekeepers, 700 from the UK, and fewer than 100 each from the US and Russia.
We've been trying for many years to get the 5 permanent members not simply to be the ones who decide the missions, but who also contribute to the peacekeeping missions that are approved by the Security Council. And China has played a very important role in that.
But the role of the Blue Helmets has changed over the years. Once it was separating two warring sides. Now it's far more complex. Keeping the peace, yes, but often in the face of immense suffering from displaced people with healthcare and nutrition issues, trying to lay the ground for a return to civil society. Sarah Cliff from New York University's Center on International Cooperation says China's willingness to take a direct role in UN affairs is giving it an edge on the world stage.
I believe that gives China a unique understanding of what the conditions on the ground actually are and an ability to influence discussions in Council based on that understanding. It really gives China the ability to push to make sure that there is a strong long-term strategy, make sure that societies come out of the problems that they've seen and can do without the sort of assistance that UN peacekeeping provides.
And as they celebrate the 90th anniversary of their founding, the People's Liberation Army can take some pride in knowing much of that is down to them. John Terrett, CGTN, New York.